All right, what's up? Welcome to episode 7 of the Children in the Basement, live from the apocalypse. Today we're going to be talking about Bass Derby, the lack thereof, the media's influence on public perception, and we're getting some wacky conspiracy theories. Without further ado, I'm your host, Karson, with my co-hosts, Ben, Manny, and Taurus. Say what's up.
Hey.
What's up?
And let's get right into it. So the first thing we're talking about is the Bass Derby, which, if you don't live in Rio Vista, the Bass Derby is like our yearly fair or carnival that happens every October, right, Taurus?
Yeah, every October.
Every October. And we get like rides like the Ferris wheel, the zipper, which is the worst ride in the world. Scares me so bad. A couple like mirror houses, and a lot of businesses come and set up shops along one of the main roads in Rio Vista. Now, Taurus has probably one of the strongest views on it. I'm not from Rio Vista, so I don't really like. It doesn't. I do other things other in October. Like I've been going recently, but it's like I don't. It's not within my culture. Bass Derby like isn't in my culture, which isn't a lot of Rio Vista people's culture. And so this year we're not having Bass Derby. And Taurus, why don't you tell us like what that means to you and for like other people around Rio Vista?
Well, I'm not really from Rio Vista. I've been living here for about basically a little bit over 9 years now. But like literally since I got here, I've been going to Bass Derby for like every single year. So I was like third grade until now. But I know, like, like the area where like the Bass Derby is, like all the rides and stuff.
Yes.
I know where I know the people that like let them rent it out, like all the money like that they pay those guys over at the Dolks Tractor so they can like set up their stuff and they get a lot of money. And because they're not having it this year, they won't be getting like yearly revenue that they like kind of depend on in their business. And there's people like I talk to like food trucks and like different like wood making places and like those weird little puppet things. And like these people sell jewelry, but they come like from like Sacramento, they come like from Vallejo, they come from like all around here, and they won't be getting their revenue that they kind of even the small businesses depend on yearly, which is going to be like really sad because like I miss it for like the rides and the food because it's like hecka fun every year and it's a nice way to like calm down and not focus on school.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's going to be a lot of people like kind of struggling, especially now since COVID already has the small businesses like hanging by a string basically. It's going to be really hard for them to like jump through this.
I get what you mean. Is there? You said we were talking about this yesterday, and you said that it's not only small businesses within Rio Vista, it's small businesses like outside of Rio Vista that get the chance to come and put a pop-up shop down the road. Do you think who do you think it'll affect worse, like people within Rio Vista or people outside of Rio Vista coming here?
I feel like it'll affect the people outside of Rio Vista because they take the chance to like leave their local area to come down here to make money. So like obviously like they would be needing the money for them to like want to take root. You know what I'm saying? Like over here. Because like yeah.
No, continue.
Our business is here. We're basically like seeing the same people. We're getting the same like people's money like every day. But it's a chance for like newer businesses to come over and like spread their like even like get new people to come over to where they live. It's like advertisement. Like, hey, you like the stuff that I have in Bass Derby? Maybe you should come on down to Fairfield to my little shop and get some stuff here too.
I agree. Ben, what do you think on the whole subject of Bass Derby closing?
I think it really sucks because I've lived in Bass Derby my whole life. Or I've lived in Rio Vista my whole life, so I've gone to Bass Derby like every year since I was able to walk. And it's going to be a real downer because it's like kind of one of the few times Rio Vista like comes together as a community and all hangs out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have Bass Derbies where they have the rides, they have all the shops, they have the car show that I think happens before or in the morning, right?
Yeah.
The same week.
In the morning time.
Manny, do you think Bass Derby should be discontinued this year, or do you think it should still go, no matter what?
I mean, I don't know how to say that, but honestly, I would say if Bass Derby would like be open, there should definitely be like more days, because like only a certain amount of people should like be at Bass Derby if this was the thing. Like only a certain amount of people should be at Bass Derby, but there should be like more days for the carnival and everybody to be there to hang around and everything. So I feel like that might be a good idea, but of course there's gonna be rules and everything, but yeah, it's not gonna happen sadly. But yeah.
So you mean like your idea would have been to limit the amount of people who came, but like kind of like have an actual system to like tallies the people in and like sets it like a certain amount of people?
Yeah, for each day.
All right. That, that seems like a good idea. Taurus, what do you think? Should Bass Derby have continued?
There's multiple ways that they could have made it COVID safe and to continue, because the area that like the little strip of road that they have it on like right now, they had it on like since they've been doing it. It's pretty small, but you can easily like lengthen it to where like every single tent where they have their businesses are like more than 6 feet apart. You can like have it mandatory to wear a mask, even though it's outside. You can't have it mandatory to wear a mask, unless you're eating or you're on a ride. And the what is it? The rides, you can make it to where only a certain amount of people can go on. Like there was the zero gravity, but it's been replaced by the Starship like 2 years ago. You can like separate the sections where people go. It's really easy. They're just not doing it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Ben?
I think it would be able they would be able to control how many people are going on the rides and stuff, but a couple hundred people like normally show up every year. So I don't know if they'd actually be able to control the amount of people like going in on the street and going through the tents and touching stuff. And of course, people are always going to slip up and just like not wear their mask, and that's
I
going to
think there's
create
just too much foot
problems.
traffic, pretty much.
Yeah.
Too many people there. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think about Bass Derby like when COVID happened. I was kind of like thinking about like school and stuff. But now like thinking about it, uh, I don't. I probably wouldn't have continued it. Like if I would continue it if we were in school. Like if we were able to go to school, I think we should be able to go to Bass Derby because we're just like. Actually, no, I don't agree with that because school is like more important and more necessary than extracurricular activity. Not extracurricular because that's businesses.
Yeah.
I'm not saying what I want to say, but we're not even in school, which is like the foundation of an industrial country. Like all these businesses, all these people have been educated. Like this is education is the rite of passage into pretty much like adulthood in America, especially, and at pretty much like every other first world, second world, probably even third world countries. Is second world a thing? Don't know. But until education is able to be done in person, I don't think we should be having like carnivals and fairs. It's like it's extra. I can't even. I can't even think of the word. It's extra exposure to something that's like not necessary. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Do you guys agree or disagree with that?
I agree with that.
I agree that it's extra exposure to something that's not necessary, but there's plenty of things that are happening like in America and around the world that are able to like continue, that are not necessary. Like I've been like on Instagram, I've been getting a bunch of these like ads and notifications like buy tickets to this what is it, freaking orchestra hall, like where these people like play instruments, and it's an indoor, it's not an outdoor hall. You would sit down, like it would be ventilated, but you everyone's breath would be in the same room. So that's
Uh-huh.
not very necessary at all. It's just hearing someone play music. You can do that in your house, but it's still being able to proceed, and school's not. So if that's able to go through by the boards, why not Bass Derby? Especially when it's a small town thing.
I agree with that because although I do think that like orchestras should be going on. I think school should be going on as well, because everything we're hearing is that masks work. Like that's what I'm hearing. That's like watch this whole like infomercial. I don't even know what it was. It was like this post, and it was like the different statistics on like if someone who's infected wears a mask and the other person who's not infected wear a mask, and they're like within 6 feet. All these different statistics and analytics about like wearing a mask and not wearing a mask when in contact with someone with COVID. And it was saying that if both people wear a mask, like are like talking to each other, like in talking distance, and one of them has COVID, you have less than like 2% chance of actually contracting the virus. And if that is true, which I do believe it is, because a lot of people think that masks are useless, and that doesn't make sense to me. Because for the last, I don't even know how many years, when someone got sick or there was something like a disease you want to catch, you wore a mask. Like when SARS came out, you wore a mask. When doctors are trying to like have open heart surgeries, they wear a mask. So they don't like get any diseases actually in their tissue and compromise their immune system. So it's kind of weird to me that people now believe that masks don't work when they're recommended. But back to what I was saying in general, I do think that I think it was called the cohort system. The cohort system in schools, which is like half the school, or if you have a bigger school, a quarter, a fifth of the school comes on this day, and a fifth comes on that day. You're pretty much switching it up and dividing the students on different days of school, and you're sanctioning one day for cleanup, like whole class cleanup. I think that should be happening now, especially in Rio Vista, because we're not our own county. We're in like a weird predicament. We're in between two counties, and we're really just a small town, like I wouldn't say cut off, but there's not a lot of people coming here to stay and kind of like add into the economy here. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
kind of like sanctioned off from like foot traffic. Like you're not going to catch somebody with coronavirus just walking down the streets. I don't know how many people in Rio Vista got coronavirus. I don't think it's over 100 tops. So I personally think school should be going back into swing. Maybe not the whole thing, maybe just the cohort system for now. But getting back to it, I think that the orchestra can be set up and kept on going because of the same way the school can be kept on going. You get people, you put in less people in the auditorium, you separate them more than they would be, and even though it's not ventilated, if you're far enough away, it's not going to matter. The disease supposedly dies with the information we have now. After a couple feet, the disease dies. And if you're worried about it not being ventilated enough, make it 10 feet instead of 6 feet. You know what I mean? Do you guys agree or no?
No, it's perfect. I'm not like saying that the orchestra shouldn't be going on. I'm just saying that like if it's going on, why not Bass Derby? That was my viewpoint.
Yeah,
Especially since the Bass Derby's outside.
definitely. I just think, because I know last time I went with foreign exchange students that actually they went back when the coronavirus happened. But when I went, I know that it was like people. It was like sardines in a can. Like there was people all over. You were definitely touching people to walk through the line in like the middle of the street. That's definitely one of the reasons why I feel like it wouldn't be like top priority, I guess, because it's not as it cannot be as made as COVID safe as like an orchestra or a school. I think schools should take higher priority. Actually, talking about priority, this wasn't what we were planning on talking about, but do you think sports should be going back in this swing? Like professional sports? Not like high school sports, but professional sports? Manny?
So I would definitely think they should, because all those NFL players and everything and coaches like have billions of dollars and everything. Like to me, like they're pretty much billionaires or whatever, millionaires, and like they have money to do like the right thing and to like try their best to prevent COVID. And if they have COVID, they'll figure out a way how to figure it out and everything. So like I would definitely say that they could be allowed and everything, and they like I don't know if they should be allowed, but. Yeah.
What do you think, Ben? Should professional sports and pro sports continue?
Yeah, because I mean, right now they're taking like all the safe precautions and they're testing their players, and then in other sports, they're keeping their 6 feet apart from each other. So, I mean, as long as they meet the requirements of preventing the spread, they should totally continue.
What about you, Taurus?
Honestly, I don't really think they should. Like, if they're still having all these regulations, especially like football and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because it is a contact sport. If I have to be within 6 feet of someone, in order to talk to them, I don't really think they should be able to like tackle each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Especially when they're sweating. So all their all the sweat's going to be going everywhere. There's definitely something going to be contracted if it is going on. And like it's how they get their money, but they have so much money already, so I'm pretty sure that they can do it. It's fine.
I personally believe that sports are one of the more necessary things right now because everyone's life has like been put off for like 6 months unless you were still working through it. And people who weren't working through it, I feel it's a travesty that they didn't get hazard pay. But I digress. Everyone's life's been put off. Like, and a lot of people, not even a lot of people, America and other countries in general are having like a mental health crisis, an epidemic. Everyone's mental health is deteriorating by staying at home. I feel like people need more outlets to kind of unload, and like especially for the older generation, like the Gen X, like a little bit above millennials. Pro sports, like that's what a lot of them find comfort in. Like a lot of people like watching their Raiders play every week. Like, do they lose a lot? Yes, but they like watching them play. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I was gonna add on to what I said, and like the sports are such a big part of our culture. So
yes,
not a way too. It would just make everyone else even more freaked out.
definitely. And I think like the problem is like not necessarily a problem. It's not a problem. I won't say that, but there's a lot of different reporting going on. Like, and they're all contradicting each other. Like there'll be like a sign over here that say masks work, sign over here that say masks don't work, and they'll both have statistics that supposedly back them up. But if they both back them up, how can they both be right if they both call each other wrong? You know what I mean? So like the point I'm getting into is how is reporting and media playing a role in the public's perception of politics, like even now, especially having to do with coronavirus. We'll start with you, Manny.
All right, what do you say again? Say that one more time.
Like, what role is media playing in public's perception of politics, and especially having to do with coronavirus?
All right, TikTok. All right, so you know how, well, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about politics and everything, but you know,
We're not
all right,
really.
so what's it called? You know how everyone is saying, "Oh, TikTok's gonna be shut down and everything like that." Like, I think that'll be a rule right there. And I don't know. What do you guys think? You think TikTok is ever going to be shut down?
I don't think. Well,
If it did, there would just be another one
yeah,
right up behind it. But going back to what we were original topic, how the media like influences people. That's like such a big influence because especially like the first thing you see when you're on the just like online or watching the news, the first thing you see, that's what you're going to believe. Even if it's wrong and there's evidence, most people will just believe the first thing that they hear or see on topic.
definitely. What about you, Taurus? Do you think the media plays a role in public's perception?
Yeah. The media has come like so much like so involved in people's lives. Like for me, it's like I go on Instagram like right when I wake up. Like I wake up, I check the time, and I go on Instagram. Like not even before I like leave out of bed. And that's like so many other people out like around the world that do the same thing. So like everyone's kind of just engrossed in the media, and a lot of people just like they find a person, like maybe they're a famous person like a singer or something, and they just follow their viewpoints. So like someone's a fan of Taylor Swift, more than likely going to be like, yeah, I believe what Taylor Swift says. So I feel like the media does have a big role in like what people think.
Yeah, I definitely think that's an actual thing. Like a lot of people like might find that funny, but just because someone in pop culture says something, people are almost feel obligated to believe it, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah, it's
there was
because
this
like
whole thing where Kobe Covington fans were going after like LeBron fans because they got into like an argument. Because Kobe Covington, who's a UFC fighter, I think he's a welterweight fighter, who beat Tyron Woodley for the welterweight championship, pretty much had a press conference and called Trump during his press conference, and it was going on, and called like LeBron spineless and all this stuff. And just because he said that, he ignited all these other people to like almost follow suit and do as I say, not say as I do. Like they were doing everything he said. And it's kind of like, do you think it's a positive? Do you think it's positive or negative, or kind of like a neutral that politics and media influence the public's perceptions so much? Start with you, Ben.
I think it can be good and bad because people can learn a lot about, politics just from the media and their phone and stuff. But why it would be so negative is because you could just be misinformed about almost everything and you'd just be sitting there believing it. And then you would tell your friends about it, or your friends would read about it too online. And now you have like this big group of people that are misinformed about a bunch of things and they don't actually know what they're talking about.
Exactly. That kind of gets us into our next point about conspiracies. And one of like the widely held conspiracies that I think the majority of the like American people today still believe um, is they believe in this like Red Scare. Like they believe in the Red Scare happening again. Like it never ended. And if you don't know what the Red Scare is, it was like the fear of communism taking over the world, which never did happen. But it's still like a prominent belief now that communism is always working against capitalism. That's like how it's set in stone.
Yeah.
And when a lot of people talk about conspiracy theories, they have this like, I would say like negative, but kind of like childish connotation on them. Like, oh, conspiracy theories, that must be like a fake thing. There's so many things in the world that like point to conspiracy theories that is completely unnerving. And we'll get into some of them in a few, but it's weird that this like conspiracy theory, the Red Scare, which has kind of like been morphed since it's now like capitalism as this overbearing world power. Like this was documented by the U.S. and I don't remember. It might have come out by like an FBI paper, not paper, but it was kind of like a Treasury receipt kind of. And it was saying that $5 million tax dollars went to buy ads for like propaganda in Venezuela to take down their current president because we had a person, I don't remember the person's name, that we were trying to plug in because we were trying to like get capitalism out of the Western hemisphere. I mean, get socialism out of the Western hemisphere. And this is like a real thing. Like people believe this happens. Like people know that we're plugging in leaders and dictators in other countries. That's what was happening in Vietnam in the 60s. But it's almost become like this given where no one finds it like wrong anymore. And they just like accept that like these conspiracies, like these actual like wide held end of the world conspiracies are normal. Like I was talking yesterday and I was like, isn't it crazy like how I'm not sure if it's people, but something is actually listening and watching what you do on your phone. Like I talked about a band that I listened to like 3 months ago. I listened to like one of their songs and I was talking about them yesterday and I got a pop-up from Spotify saying, oh, are you a fan of blah, blah, blah? Why don't you follow them and go and subscribe to their fan page? That's crazy. That's legitimately crazy. And it's kind of become this thing where it's widely accepted, like it's not wrong anymore. It's kind of like a given. Like all the stuff that came out with WikiLeaks, and I don't really remember what happened with WikiLeaks. I might be a little too young for that to understand. But all of it's just like normalized now. No one cares anymore. And do you think that conspiracy theories still like have that negative connotation, or do you think they're become like this widely accepted like kind of like cult? Like, do you think there's like almost the majority of America believes in conspiracy theories, or do you think it's still taboo? We'll start with you, Manny.
Honestly, I have no idea what you're just saying right now.
Dude, I was on one. I'm not even gonna lie to you. If you're listening to that, I was ranting so hard. But what I'm saying is, are conspiracy theories still taboo? Like, have you seen the movie Pixels with Adam Sandler?
Never.
Yes.
Yes. So why did I say Adam Sandler? Oh, because like there's all these like his best friend was like a conspiracy theorist and thought he was crazy and all this stuff. Do you feel like people still think of conspiracies as like crazy, loony? Like if you believe in conspiracy theories, you must be like crazy,
I feel like
or
it
you
de-
think it's more?
I feel like
Feel
it
like it's what?
depends on what?
I didn't hear you.
I said I feel like it depends on the theory. There's like theories that seem too outlandish to be true, and there are theories
Uh-huh.
that are like, yeah, I can see that. Like, because
Yeah.
like I feel like theories have definitely been more modernized because like there's things on like game theory and film theory. They're just like making theories out of games and stuff. So like when someone hears theory, it's like it's not like the worst thing. They're not like, oh, you're freaking dumb. It's not like when people believed in like the UFOs and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Like it's become a lot more modernized and more accepted, but it still depends on like how outlandish the theory may seem.
Okay. Well, originally I planned on like going into this topic. I planned on talking about the conspiracy theory that like COVID was this planned thing. I think we're gonna hold that to the end, or at least talk about that in another episode, because of just like how much like I've been researching the last couple of days. Like I feel like it deserves more time than we had. So we're
That
like go on to huh?
that's crazy because I was actually about to jump on that and be like, I think like there's some things that you can think about that conspiracy is that COVID is actually fake or it's planned
I
because
think that like what we've been talking about the last couple of days like deserves more time than we have today. I feel like we're gonna have to roll it over, or at least
Yeah.
give all of next episode like two conspiracy theory like debates, especially that one, and the one with the U.S. money that we'll tackle next episode. But today we'll stick with like the more like mainstream conspiracy theories, and we'll start with one that a lot of people think is a joke, but I think it's honestly warranted. Do you guys think that we actually landed on the moon when we said we did, Taurus?
Um, I wouldn't see why they would have to lie about that. You know what I'm saying? If we have the technology to do it.
Well, do you think that we have the technology to do it
Yeah.
back then?
I could see why we would lie about it is because it was the whole reason why we went to the moon is because we were racing Russia. The United States was racing Russia to the moon to see which one could get there first.
And that followed like I don't know if it was a second Red Scare, but it might have been the first, second. I don't remember which one it was.
I
But
think
yeah,
it
the
was like
Red.
a continuously
Oh,
like long one. Like there was parts where it like died down and like less people were fearing over communism, but then it kind of rose
It,
up again during the race to the moon.
definitely. So, do you think we landed there when that happened? Like when it was televised, do you think we actually landed there, Ben?
It could have.
Do you think it's probable?
Yeah, I think we definitely could have done it.
Yeah.
But like I said, we were in a race, so we could have actually not made it to the moon and just like faked them actually getting there, and just actually launched them into space, just so we could say that we beat Russia in the race.
Definitely. What do you think, Manny?
Yeah, I don't think like they had a whole bunch of technology back then, but like I feel like I agree with Ben with saying like launched into space and like faked it of going to the moon because like I don't know if there's actual like studies or whatever that we actually went to the moon and everything, or they're just talking about it or whatever. But yeah, they need some more evidence.
You need more evidence? Yeah, because a lot of people don't believe that they actually did go to the moon. But talking to my grandpa about this yesterday, he always thought that we never made it to the moon. But he was telling me yesterday about like how he was surprised at all these people that, well, not all these people, but the people that went on the mission, he thought that they were like one day like say like, oh yeah, we didn't go, even on their deathbed, they never once hinted that they never made it to the moon. So does that strengthen the narrative in your mind?
Yeah,
Start you, Ben. That does
because
strengthen the narrative.
you think they would have
So
at
you
least like
like,
slipped up once with it.
you think you would? I don't know, because there's a lot of things that I even remember in like in our seventh grade science class, like going over this. Apparently, like in like the television broadcast, like the flag is blowing, like as if they were in the wind. And then also, what else was it?
The
People
shadow.
were talking about like how, yeah, the shadows, like how the shadows are facing different ways. And like I thought, like, when the shadows are facing different ways, like there's like stars up there, but apparently, like they're not like that bright where they like change the shadows. I guess I don't know. But yeah, so what I got was the flag, the shadows, and just the overall timing of it is why it sounded off. So I'm gonna go around and ask all of you: are you in or out on if we made it to the moon? In being yes, we made it, it happened, and out being like I'm not so sure. I don't think so. Manny, are you in or out?
I'm definitely out.
You're out. Forrest, what about you?
I would say, I would say I'm in because I feel like it'd be a lot more trouble than it is worth faking it and keeping up a lie. But at the same time, I don't really care.
Uh huh.
I
Ben, are you in or out?
If I had to choose, I mean, I would just stay neutral. But if I had to choose, I would say I'm out. They didn't do it.
You're out.
Maybe they
Yeah,
did, but the the recording could have definitely been fake.
that's
Yeah,
definitely.
they might not have had like the technology to sustain cameras outside of like inside of space. You know what I'm saying?
That is true. All this is true, but we don't know. And I wrote down a lot more conspiracy theories. And there's this other one about the New World Order, which like it sounded dumb to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It sounded dumb to me when I heard it because it was supposed to be this thing, this like secret society. It's the Illuminati. It's supposed to be the Illuminati, and like their headquarters is under the Denver airport of all places. And they meet up under the Rocky Mountains to survive any nuclear fallout. All this other stuff is a little much. I'm not gonna lie to you. But the kicker, I said that multiple times today. The kicker was that they said I was watching this video and they said like, oh yeah, all the planning started after they killed Kennedy. And I started thinking about Umbrella Academy. Have you guys watched that yet? Please tell me you have.
No, I haven't.
Watch some of it.
It's on my list though.
Oh, well, yeah. In the Umbrella Academy, there is like the New World Order. Like I didn't even think about that. Like everything having to do with the New World Order, like is brought up in Umbrella Academy. Like it's kind of like the dad in the Umbrella. Oh, that's a really big spoiler. I'm not gonna spoil it because that's a show that a lot of people watch. But the Umbrella Academy, I feel took um, inspiration from the conspiracy theory of the New World Order, and it's pretty much like there's like lizard people under there. There's all this crazy stuff, and I think the funniest thing was that when I was researching it, the Denver airport kind of like played into it. Like they have billboards and signs, like as if there really was like aliens and stuff, and they have all this different stuff in there to like kind of laugh with the conspiracy theorists, not being laughed at. That makes sense. Kind of like headed it off.
Yeah.
There's a lot. What do you think happened to Kennedy? I guess that ties back in. What do you think happened to Kennedy? And this will be the last one we end off on. We'll start with you, Ben. Do you think he was really hit by, was it Oswald?
You think he
Was that the
like
guy?
was he really assassinated?
Assassinated by the guy they say for like just the reason they say.
Yes.
Because I would think he's dead. Like you think like the tea we've been given is the right one.
Yeah.
All right, you want to think deeper in that?
I don't know. Come back to me on it.
All right, what about you, Manny? Do you think like that's pretty much what it seems?
To be honest, I have like no idea what you're talking about right now.
The
So,
assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Oh, all
Did
right.
it go
So
down what we were told?
I would definitely think so. Like, why would you like lie about something like that or something? So
Mhm.
I would definitely think, yeah, it went down how they say.
So you don't like think there's any reason to lie about it?
Yeah.
All right. And Taurus, what about you? What do you
Um,
think?
I honestly like never heard of any like theories saying that he was like that John F. Kennedy like didn't die or like didn't die for the reason that they said. But I have
Um,
heard theories about his son saying like he's not dead or like he faked his death. Those are like the theories that I've heard.
that's a lot. I didn't even write this one down. This one actually just came to my head because I did this in like I had like prior knowledge on some of these conspiracy theories, and one of the ones that I actually believe, like this is like the reason I think he was killed, was because I forget the exact executive order number because I had the order number so I could like talk about it with my teacher. I brought it to school, but he had an executive order to abolish the Federal Reserve and go back to the United States printing its own money without interest. And that was on his desk. Like that was ready to go into law.
Oh,
And it
man.
just so happens he died. And now, let's say he was killed for like some, just because someone was mad at him. Some citizen was mad at him. The next president, which was LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, Lyndon B. Johnson, his vice president, was known for like passing almost all of what Kennedy wanted done. He was like carrying Kennedy's torch, and then I don't I'm pretty sure he had a second term, and like it was known for like a second term, like being like his actual term. It's kind of weird though that if he's known for carrying his torch, why wouldn't he push that one executive order into law? You know what I mean? It kind of just died with Kennedy. That whole idea of like the United States being its own bank
So
died
the
in
person that
60.
took over for Kennedy, he didn't push that one thing
You know,
through.
he didn't.
Okay, so
Nope. That was didn't ten. Oh, I don't want to get it wrong. Did he die in 63?
I don't know the date.
65 or 67? It's one of those odd numbers. I think
Well,
it was.
maybe. All right. So what I'm thinking is like maybe that was his theory. So like they want to leave it with him. So like no one else like takes over or anything. Like they want to leave it to his idea and everything. That's my guess.
He died 63. Yeah.
63. Yeah. Man, I'm just a history buff. What can I say? But so he died in 63, and you're like, your thought process is he didn't pass it through because why? Why wouldn't he have passed it through?
All right, so I don't think he would pass it through because like they want to leave his theory to like himself and like not pass it through like so he was like made a mark like for himself, right, saying his theory or whatever, and like they
I
didn't
get
want
you.
to continue it on and just leave it to him.
I get what you mean, but it's weird though because every other thing that Kennedy wanted, the vice president passed through because Kennedy wanted it to like kind of fulfill Kennedy's um, stay of office. But that one thing, why would he only withhold one wish if he was trying to preserve like Kennedy's own thoughts? If he was like trying to preserve like, oh yeah, Kennedy did this. This is what he wanted. He should be known for this, even though none of it went through because he died, of course.
Yeah, and then yeah, he dies right before he can put it
So
through.
yeah, so I feel like I don't necessarily agree with that take. Not because I think it's wrong, but I just feel like it doesn't fit. Like it doesn't fit like what else is happening. Because if he wanted to leave Kennedy's ideas to Kennedy, why did he touch the other 99? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're gonna go through this again. Same thing, in or out on the Kennedy assassination. Ben, are you in? Like, are you drinking the Kool-Aid, or do you think something else happened?
Um, I think what we've been told is true.
Things we've been told is true. Okay, Taurus.
I'd have to look further into it.
All right, and Manny.
Same here. I need some research to do.
All right.
You got to make a decision with the.
But
You
all
gotta
right,
make a
so
decision
with the facts here, I'm out. Like,
You're out.
yeah.
Taurus, with what's here, are you in or out?
I guess I would say I'm out with what's
You're
here.
out. So we
Oh
have
my
one
God.
person
You
in,
guys are just
3
letting
out.
Karson persuade you.
Dude, I don't know. It's also weird because like, oh man, I don't remember the mobster's name. I don't remember his name. He was in Umbrella Academy too. But it's kind of weird that like this dude just happens to assassinate Lee Harvey Oswald before he talks or anything too. It's kind of, I didn't even tell you guys about that, but yeah, he was pretty sure shanked by some mobster before like he squealed.
Oh
That's
man.
also another thing that like kind of sows in doubt. But we have to go. You know, we're almost out of time. And with that, next episode is going to be, again, largely based on conspiracy theories because there's at least 30 minutes of topics that we didn't even touch.
Yeah.
So with that, you listen to Children in the Basement, episode 7 with your host Karson and co-hosts Manny, Ben, and Taurus. Hopefully we'll be back at you with another episode, a full episode probably, on conspiracies, dropping probably Wednesday. With that, we're out. Say adios, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye bye.